welcome to Mind Over Hunger. Today we're going to be doing a baking live. As you can see here, we have carrots and we are going to be making gluten-free carrot cake cupcakes. So I will go over everything that you're going to need for this recipe and then we'll get right to it. So almond milk, doesn't matter what brand. We are going to need some cooking spray, cream cheese. This is vegan cream cheese, so dairy-free. Dairy-free butter, powdered sugar, brown sugar, vegetable oil, vanilla extract, eggs, allspice, ginger, nutmeg, cinnamon, baking powder, baking soda, obviously carrots, and a gluten-free flour. Now, I know with PCOS you want to keep your sugars low, so if you do not want to use the regular powdered sugar here or the other sugar that I'm going to be using in the cake mix, you can use coconut sugar. I did get it because I was going to use it, however I am going to be sharing these cupcakes with my family, so I wanted to make sure they were going to like it as well. But here is the coconut sugar if you guys want to screenshot this and try it yourselves. Alright, well let's get to it. Okay, so the cup of brown sugar goes in and a cup of vegetable oil. So now you are going to mix that all together on medium. And at this point, you can grab a spatula so you can scoop down the sides. Just wait until you stop this because it will hit. Okay, so just keep it going until it's all combined. Next step, we will be adding 6 large eggs. You're going to want to do this 2 at a time. I always like to crack my eggs in a bowl before I add them in, just in case you get bad eggs. So we'll fold the first 2 in. And we'll start mixing that on low. And while that's mixing, I'm going to start with another 2 eggs. So I'm not going to turn it off, I'm just going to add them in. And then my next 2. Okay, so you'll want to wait until all of this is combined. Okay, next step we are going to add in our cinnamon, which is going to be a whole tablespoon. A teaspoon of nutmeg. If I could find it, if I knew which one it was. A teaspoon of ginger. And a teaspoon of allspice. Okay, now that we have all of our spices together, we're gonna mix again on low. Now that all this is mixed well, we are going to add in our baking soda and our baking powder. So you're going to get 2 tablespoons of baking soda. And 1 tablespoon of baking powder. And 1 tablespoon of salt. The salt is going to bring out the sweetness of everything. Next up, we are going to be adding our flour, but first you want to sift it, that way you don't get clumps. It's going to be 1.5 cups. So get your flour and just put it in and start sifting until you get 1.5 cups. And you can see the mess that I'm making with this, but baking is never neat. So if you're going to start baking, that is one thing that I will let you know, is that it is a mess. It's so much fun and it pays off, but once you are done, you will see the mess that it makes. Just clean as you go and it will be a lot easier. So about to a cup now, just keep on sifting till you get to 1.5. I have never used gluten-free flour in my baking, in my cooking, so this is going to be the first time that we are trying the gluten-free, and I've heard good things that you can't even taste the difference. And this brand that I got, I decided to use it because it does say baking flour, so we'll see how this turns out. Now that we have all of our flour sifted, we are going to fold it into our mixer. You're going to start it off on low and gradually add in your flour. You can see on the sides that it is building up. However, you're just going to want to get your spatula, stop your mixer, get your spatula, and make sure you're scraping down the sides. That way you don't get any lumps at the end and everything gets mixed in. I wanted to do a clear bowl with you guys so you can see the mix, and that way you can see how much buildup you do get around. Just keep on, like I said, stop your mixer and get a spatula and just push it all down. So start it again low and fold in the rest. Okay, while that is mixing, I'm going to get our almond milk and our vanilla extract. We're going to do 1/2 cup of almond milk. This is a recipe that I used to make when I would bake cakes, and when it wasn't gluten-free or dairy-free, I would do buttermilk. So if you are not wanting to do the gluten-free, dairy-free, I suggest that you add buttermilk instead of the almond milk. That way it's more rich and dense. It's super delicious, this recipe, if you decide to try it. Okay, next we are going to add our vanilla, 2 tablespoons. 1 and 2. So now that we added our milk and our vanilla, we are going to mix it on low, just a little bit so everything can combine. Okay, once that's combined, you're going to want to turn it off again. We are going to sift an additional 1.5 cups of flour. Okay, so let's fold in our additional 1.5 cups of flour. Again, you're going to want to do this gradually on low and fold it in little by little. Again, stop your mixer and scrape the edges. are going to want to start grating your carrots. We're going to need about 2.5 cups. So now we are going to grate our carrots. I have a grater that has different options. I'm going to go with the smaller one just so we can get smaller pieces of carrots. You don't want huge chunks of carrots when you bite into it. Okay, now that I have all my carrots grated, we're going to fold them in 2.5 cups. If you can see how fine they are, that way you don't have chunks of carrots and they'll bake in there nicely. So 1, 2, and a half. This was about 3 carrots on steroids. But if you can see here, we have plenty left over. Maybe a carrot that's not on steroids, maybe I'll have to use about 4 of them. But the carrots that we have are super big. So now we are going to add in my secret ingredient, which is crushed pineapple. This is going to make the carrot cake so much better. Okay, so in this recipe that I followed did not call for crushed pineapple, so I kind of just eyeball it. You want to be careful that you do not put too much because you are not making a pineapple cake, you are making a carrot cake. So I'm going to start off with a cup, and we're going to see how much that is. And if you get a little bit of juice in there, that's fine too. It just adds a little bit more sweetness. So I'm going to add a cup. Let's see how that looks. I'm going to do another half a cup. Alright, that should be good. Next, we are going to add raisins. Just kidding, don't add raisins, because if you do add raisins to this recipe, you will ruin it. Raisins are disgusting. So now you're just going to mix this on low and make sure that you are starting off low. That way it doesn't go everywhere. Everything is mixing in so beautifully. It smells so delicious. I cannot wait to taste this. Okay, so I have been mixing this for about 2 minutes now. Make sure you're not over mixing your mix because your cupcakes or cake, whatever you're gonna make with this, will come out flat, and that's not what you want. You do not want a cake that's not gonna rise. So 2 minutes, and that's about good. So now we're gonna stop this, and we are going to add them into our cupcakes. Okay, so now we're gonna add pan baking into this. This does have flour in there, which is obviously not gluten-free, so just add very little. This is just gonna be so the cupcake part, the cake part doesn't stick to the cupcake liner. So I'm gonna get it. I'm just gonna spray very little in each one. Now I'm gonna use an ice cream scooper to scoop in the batter into the cupcake liner. So each cupcake, well, you need to fill it in about halfway so it can rise to the top. That's about a ice cream scoop. Okay, so my cupcake tins are filled. Now they're going to go into the oven. What I have here is a little pick. This pick I have right here, I'm going to poke into the cupcakes when I feel that they are done. Once it comes off clean, they are done. If you do not have a pick like this, you can use a toothpick, and well, in they go.
You're going to want to bake these for 18 minutes at least.
So now that we have our cupcakes into the oven, we are going to start on our cream cheese frosting. And this is dairy free. This is the brand that I got from Whole Foods. I've never ever made dairy free cream cheese frosting, any dairy free frosting, so I'm going to hope that it comes out thick enough to pipe it onto our cupcakes. So the recipe calls for 8 ounces of cream cheese, half a cup of butter, and 4 cups of powdered sugar. We are going to double it since we will be making double the amount of cupcakes. So first off, we are going to put in our cream cheese and our butter. We're gonna combine them until it becomes about like a whipped consistency. This cream cheese is thick, which I was worried that it wasn't going to be. So it should come out thick enough to pipe onto cupcakes. You can see here that it is pretty thick. Okay, so we added one of our containers of cream cheese. We are going to add the other. Okay, so now that we have both of our containers, we are going to put in our butter. And both the cream cheese and the butter were left out so we can get to room temperature. This is going to give you that whipped consistency. If you were to put them on straight from the refrigerator, they are not going to whip. You're going to get clumps. And when you get clumps, they won't come out. It will not give you that creamy consistency that you're going to need for the frosting. So make sure you at least leave them out for a couple of hours so they can get to room temperature. You also don't want them too soft because then your frosting will be ready. Okay, so we're going to whip that on medium speed. Okay, so this is a new box and it has about 2 cups in it, so I'm not going to measure it, but I am going to sift it little by little. And this is again so we don't have clumps of sugar in the frosting. Sift. And the recipe calls for about 4 cups of sugar for each serving, and I doubled, so that would be 8 cups, which I feel like is a lot of sugar. So I'm going to do it to taste. I'm going to start off with 4 cups and see how that goes, and then I'll gradually add more. And again, if you don't want to follow the gluten-free, dairy-free recipe, all you have to do in this is use regular cream cheese and regular butter. The ratio is the same. So I did about half of the box, and I'm going to mix that in first. You're going to want to do this gradually because if not, you will create clouds of powdered sugar and your kitchen will be a mess. Okay, so we have found the consistency that we wanted. It is creamy and smooth, if you can see it. I will get it with a spatula, give you guys an idea of how creamy and smooth that it is. Now what we're going to do is fold in our sugar. We're going to fold it in. Okay, so I have sifted in about 2 cups of sugar. I have already sifted the rest of the sugar that I had, which is going to be about 5 cups. And I do have this cover on here just so I don't create a cloud of powdered sugar, and I could just keep on adding it in gradually. So you're going to put it on medium. And start putting in your sugar little by little. Okay, so I have added all 5 cups of sugar and it is done. This is the consistency that it gave me, which is pretty thick and it will pipe beautifully. It's super smooth and let's see. It's actually really good. Okay, so here are our cupcakes. They came out so beautiful. There is one missing because we did try them just to make sure that they were good. So now we're going to frost them. I do have a piping bag and I'm going to get my tip, which is a 1M. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut your bag at the very tip. So you're gonna just put it right here and kind of measure out where it would end. So I'm gonna measure it right here. I'm gonna cut it off. And I'm going to put my tip in. Just like that. So I'm gonna fold it over and I'm gonna create like a cup with my hands and I'm gonna hold it from the very bottom and I'm going to put in my cream cheese frosting. So you could just fill it up a little bit. There's not a lot of cupcakes, so I'm just gonna fill it in probably less than half. One more. Okay, now that I have it about halfway filled, I'm going to just pull it. I'm gonna push everything to the bottom. And I'm going to let any air bubbles out by going like that. Okay, so we're good. So we're gonna start piping our very first one. That I just create a little knot and do it around my finger. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna start in the center. You're gonna put a little bit of pressure. Once you see it go up, you're gonna go all the way around. And this is a style of a rosette. Or you can just keep going. And create like a little dome on top of it. Or you can just go all the way around and create that. So those are three different, I guess, forms that you can do of the icing. I'll do a couple more with you. This frosting, it is thick and it is smooth, but it's not really holding its form. It's kind of wobbly. So I suggest that if you're going to do this recipe, just make sure that you are not piping too high because it is going to start drooping. I also have really hot hands, so it is good to make sure that your hands are hot. You can grab like an ice pack and grab it between each pipe. So I'm going to just pipe one more with you guys and then we will taste them. Okay, so as you can see here, we are all done frosting. The icing did come out a little bit droopy. As you can see, the icing is losing its height. So if you are looking for more of a sturdy frosting, make sure you're putting a little bit more powdered sugar in there. I'm going to try one with you guys. We'll see. So this is what it looks like. Yum. You can't even taste the fact that it's gluten-free or dairy-free. At first I was a little bit worried that the icing was going to taste a little off because it was tart, but the sugar definitely made up for it. Here you go. Gluten-free, dairy-free cupcakes. Okay guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed baking these cupcakes for you guys. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that follow button. That way you get notifications each time there is a live or a new video uploaded. Also, please like and share this video so it can get out there and we can start doing more giveaways and get more followers. Well, now you have to taste one.
Okay. See how this tastes.
No, I'll feed it.